Welcome to r/MaliciousCompliance, where we share stories of people conforming to the letter but not the spirit of a request. And today we have 3 good stories. So subscribe, hit the like button, and here we go. The first story is a much-deserved break. Background: I work nights at a small chain grocery store near me. I have a full-time job during the day and head over to this retail job at night and work 6 to 10 p.m. as a cashier. Most weeknights it's extremely slow. I'm talking maybe 2 to 3 customers per hour after 8 p.m. And we were told that as long as there's no customers around or waiting to be cashed out, you can be on your phone. We always stay close to monitor our lanes and usually will notice anyone walking down and immediately assist them, regardless. All of the names in this have been changed. So, a typical Wednesday night. It's about 8:45 p.m. and there's only a few customers walking around the store. We have 3 cashiers, 2 female, 1 male, me included, a senior cashier, female, and a customer service manager, also female on the front, and the stocking staff, who are mostly male, throughout the store, restocking the shelves. Most of the time, we don't stand behind our registers waiting for people to walk up. We kinda group up together and chat, or lean up against one of the racks and do stuff on our phones. In this particular scenario, the only male front-end employee was on self-check and was meticulously using scissors to trim the edges of ripped-out coupons. The dude's got odd hobbies, I don't judge. While the remaining staff, all female, were either chatting or on their phones. I was reading a book on my phone. All of a sudden, one of the store managers, Ted, walks over to where most of us are congregated and asks us to come near him. That conversation goes like this. Ted: "Hey guys, we just got a complaint. A customer said that she's tired of coming in here at night and seeing all the women on their phones and screwing around while all the men do the work. She said that all the female employees ignored her when she had a question and that they should be put to work while the men get to take a break. I explained the store policy about downtime, but she apparently has only seen the female employees on their phone and claimed it's not a fair policy and should be changed to include all male employees." Me, flabbergasted. What the heck is she talking about? We were told that we're allowed to have our phones out if there's no people, and nobody's come up and asked us anything. Most of the store staff aside from the front end is male, so… Ted: "I know, but can you kind of be discreet?" I begin to ask who she is, but he cuts me off. "I'm not telling you who she is. She wanted to remain anonymous." Most of us roll our eyes but nod at him. You could tell he didn't give a rat's patootie about what she had to say. Now, while Ted didn't tell us who this complaining customer was, there was only 2 people in the store at this time, and one was a guy. So, process of elimination. Sure enough, 15 minutes later, Karen struts her way down my lane with her nose in the air and a satisfied smirk on her lips, dropping all her groceries on the belt. I give her the customer service voice and fake smile, but I keep seeing her side-eye my phone, where it's sitting on the counter to my right, where the receipt printer sits. I cash her out, she snatches the receipt and stomps out, not saying a word, but making sure to shoot my other female coworkers dirty looks as she leaves. She's a repeat customer. I've seen her in there quite a few times during my shifts at night, and I recognize her as the same woman who consistently complains about only female staff, which was confirmed by every female worker I asked after this happened. Almost every woman that works on the store floor, me included, has had at least one nasty run-in with her, so I turn to my fellow employees and a grin spreads on my face. It's on. Fast forward about a week later, Monday night. I'm working my normal 6 to 10 shift, but this time it's me, 2 male cashiers, a female senior cashier, and a male front-end manager. All of the stalkers are male that night and are in on what I've been planning and waiting to execute. I look up at around 9 p.m. and I see none other than Karen strutting into the front of the store. It's go time. The front-end manager hops on the walkie-talkie to all the stalking crew, telling them that Special K is in the store. Immediately, all of the stalkers drop whatever they're doing and pull out their phones, leaning against the shelves while they play around. Even the 1 male employee at the deli got his phone out, while his female coworker was the only one helping customers. It takes her a good 20 minutes to make her way through the store. Later, I found out that she walked through almost every aisle and saw 6 out of 7 stock guys on their phones, including the deli, who all ignored her. The second she rounds the corner to come up to the front with her purchases, me and the senior female cashier both get to work, heads down and cleaning registers, neighboring ones that are open, and trying not to laugh, while the 3 male employees stand in a circle on their phones. Karen walks down one of the lanes and drops her stuff, but none of my male associates pay her any attention. She clears her throat and turns to Savannah, my coworker, who is cleaning the lane next to the one she's standing at, and I can hear her clear as day. Karen: "Excuse me, can someone ring up my items?" Savannah, in her most exaggerated customer service voice: "I'm so sorry, miss. I'm cleaning like I'm supposed to. One of the guys is on that register." She points to the group of male employees, who all look up from their phones and blink at her. Eric, the brave one of the group and who just so happens to be on that register, just smiles at her and says, "I'll be right there. We're taking a much-deserved break," and looks back down at his phone. This woman starts stammering and ranting about how this is unacceptable, that the men in this store have always been so helpful. She demands to see a manager, who also happens to be female that night and in on our plan. Nick, the customer service manager, tells her with a straight face that Emily is currently unloading one of the trucks in the back and can't leave the merchandise, but he'd be glad to provide her the customer service number if she'd like to make a complaint. She accepts that and he hands her one of the business cards with the number on it. I give them a cut-off signal and the charade ends, and Eric walks over and begins cashing her out, the same bright smile on his face. Karen is grumbling under her breath about how abnormally rude the employees have been. When Eric hands her the receipt, he looks her dead in the eye and goes for the kill shot. "Well, ma'am, we're just making sure that all of the men get their deserved breaks while the ladies do the work." Her face turns red and her expression drops as she quickly grabs her bags and rushes out of the store. I haven't seen her since, and she never called the customer service number to complain. The second story is just doing my job as things fall apart. I worked at a bookstore in the cafe. We got a new cafe manager that was completely clueless. Myself and another person were the most senior in the cafe. I worked more hours than the other guy, so we took over a lot of the manager's workload. She had never worked in any form of food service and never was properly trained. She had no idea how to do inventory, ordered a bunch of wrong stuff that we couldn't sell. It was a hot mess, so we stepped in when she nearly had a breakdown. She was clueless when it came to use a computer. The bookstore got a new manager, and she was a hard A and liked to micromanage everything, especially the cafe, as this was her past position at another store. She came in and tried to do an overhaul of the cafe, asking all sorts of questions that the cafe manager couldn't answer. Basically, I did all the talking, as I was doing the manager's job. In all honesty, I didn't mind it. I like to work hard, and I wanted to work full-time. I thought this could be my chance. New manager wasn't pleased with any of it, and thought I took over the cafe because I was bossy. No, B, an incompetent person was hired and couldn't find her A with both hands. I was told flat out, do your job. Okay, no problem. I showed up on time, did my work within the perimeters of the job description. No more inventory assistance other than the basic counting. No more ordering or keeping track of what sold best, etc. No more merchandising or updating the shadow boxes. No more helping do the cafe schedule. I just did my job like I was told. Place was clean and tidy as always. Customers were helped. Display case was always filled with product. Tables were bussed and coffee carafes were always filled. But we ran out of things like milk, chocolate to make mochas, coffee sleeves. She ordered way more product than our fridge and freezer could hold. Also a bunch of stuff that we had ordered before that never sold, but she liked it, so that's why she ordered it. 4 boxes of loose jelly beans, instead of the packaged kind, which we couldn't return because she opened all 4 boxes. Inventory was counted but not entered into the system. That was her job. Merchandise in the shadow boxes wasn't changed. Within a month, the store manager came in and did another inspection, and she was horrified. Things on my end regarding my job description was on point, but when it came to the overall management of the cafe, nothing was in order. Store manager turned to me asking why things were slipping through the cracks, why we had over 800 medium cups but no lids, what's with all the brand muffins in the fridge, how come none of the inventory was in the system, why the merchandise didn't reflect the theme of the month for the store, or the specific holiday that month. How come certain local vendors had not been paid? I simply stated I was told to do my job and those responsibilities do not fall in my job description. She was none too pleased. 2 weeks later, I got reassigned to the bookstore registers and a bunch of newbies took over. Oh lordy! Regular customers were complaining left and right and would come up to me asking what the hell is going on. A few weeks later, I got a call to ask if I could come in and take a shift in the cafe, as 2 people called out sick and I was trained to do the work. Sorry, but that's not in my new job description. She wasn't happy. A few days after that, I got a new job. Decided instead of giving notice, I just didn't show up. Manager called asking where I was. I said working at my new job, and oh, I quit. She said you have to give notice. Well, you never gave me notice about switching my job, so this is the best you're gonna get. People don't quit jobs, they quit managers. The last story is, don't sue, we'll let you come onto our property to fix your sewer line. The house I grew up in was built on the side of a hill. Great views, but the geography posed some challenges for the city utilities, sewage in particular. Their solution was to put all the houses on the hill in what was called a shared line. Essentially, one big pipe ran through all of our backyards, just below the houses' basements. Effluent would flow out from the houses, into the shared pipe, and then down the hill to the city sewer line by the bottommost house. When we moved in, we were at the highest point that it was possible to build on, and still be part of that shared sewer line. But a few years later, someone brought a lot just over the crest of the hill and linked up with ours, without being part of the planned community that had an HOA that took care of the sewer line, among other things. And in fact, they did so without the HOA's approval. And so, for the next 2 decades, my family would be the subject of near constant harassment over the state of the sewer. Their end of the line was lower than ours by just enough that it would stop flowing and clog, often backing up into their basement bathroom and shower. They'd accuse us of diverting our effluent to their line, because I guess we were some kind of plumbing wizards. Now, the reason nobody built a house on that part of the hill during the original development was that the soil was unstable, something hydrology related. Sure enough, over the years, that house would occasionally separate from the hill and slide down a couple of inches. But our neighbors had connections in the code enforcement agency, so the place never got condemned like it should be. They just had to shore it up and reconnect all the utilities. The thing is, the further down the house moved, the steeper the negative incline was from their sewer connection to our junction box, making the clogs and backups even worse. At one point, it got so bad that their sewer barely flowed. Some days it got completely clogged. Somehow, this was our fault. They spent the next year calling us every time they tried to flush a toilet, and SH came out in their downstairs shower. They called a plumber, who said they had to redo their part of the shared line. And to do it, they'd have to bust through our 2-story masonry wall so they could get a backhoe onto our property and dig out the line. Of course, we had issues with this. We said, no, you will not come onto our property and tear it up with a big A piece of construction equipment. Hire human laborers or something. But instead, they hired lawyers who started slinging paper around. According to them, we were in violation of state law that specifically gave an implied easement granting a homeowner access through another's property to maintain their own. So we hired lawyers of our own who said that we basically had a choice. We could win the case, but pay a ton of money, or just let it happen. Either way, we'd be screwed. But they pointed out one important fact. That 20-year-old masonry wall wasn't in the greatest of shape anyway. So, a few months later, we presented them with a bill for $75,000 for the rebuilding of the wall, installation of a new set of stairs, replacement of the entire wrought iron fence that had separated the two properties, resodding, replacement of ornamental plants and shrubs, and some minor repairs to our sewer, which they had borked up while relaying their pipes. I'm not a general contractor, but my guess is that they could have hired pick and shovel labor to dig out that pipe and replace it with a new one for a fraction of that price. But no, they had to have a giant Caterpillar tread machine do it. They balked, but then we handed them a Xerox copy of the letter that their lawyers had sent us, with pursuant to paragraph blah blah of the Common Code of blah blah blah, citing the next paragraph, which stated that the person using the easement was 100% responsible for any damage that might be caused. They still balked, but my parents put a lien on their property that stayed there to the day they tried to sell, at which point they had to pay up, or the purchaser's creditors wouldn't underwrite a mortgage. I think they had to pay interest too, but I'm not 100% sure about that. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and have a good day.